Question 1. Why were all the goods in the city to be gathered together and burned? Weren't these legitimate spoils of war? Answer. Under ordinary circumstances of war, everything in a conquered city could indeed be regarded as lawful spoil. But this city was different. Calvin points out that because it had openly rebelled against God and led others away from the law, it had been declared devoted to destruction. As a result, even touching its possessions would bring defilement. God therefore commanded that everything be burned to make clear that these were not resources to be reused, but evil that had to be completely severed and destroyed. Question 2. Was God doing this merely to prevent human greed? Answer. Preventing greed was indeed a secondary purpose, so that zeal for God would not be mixed with the desire to plunder. But Calvin stresses that this was not the main point. The true purpose was to instruct the people, to instill in them a deep and lasting hatred for this kind of sin. When one witnesses a city being so utterly destroyed because of it, one learns that this is no minor offense, but a rebellion that God utterly abhors. Question 3. What does karam actually mean, and why is it translated as anathema? Answer. The basic meaning of karam is to destroy or to abolish. Whatever God has determined to remove because he cannot tolerate its continued existence is called cherem before him. The Greek translation uses anathema, not merely to convey a curse, but to express something set apart and handed over for destruction. This is not an emotional punishment, but God's final and decisive judgment against sin. Question 4. Why does the text say, "You shall burn the city for the Lord your God"? Is this an attempt to please God? Answer. Calvin carefully explains that this is not for God's benefit, but before God and unto him. The meaning is that if the people fear God's judgment and long for his mercy, they must actively take God's side and show total rejection of whatever rebels against his law. Burning the city is a public and complete declaration. We will have no association whatsoever with this sin. Question 5. Why does the passage then speak of showing mercy and compassion? Isn't this about judgment? Answer. It is precisely here that Calvin sees God's mercy. These words imply that if God were to act according to strict justice, the sin of one city would be enough to bring destruction upon the entire nation. By requiring the complete destruction of that city, God is instead performing a kind of costly containment, stopping judgment from spreading further. This is not cruelty, but a means of preventing a far greater devastation. Question 6. Does this destruction carry some sense of atonement? Answer. Yes. Calvin explicitly states that what is required here is an action that appeases God's wrath. When the people destroy the city entirely and cast everything into the fire without reserve, they acknowledge that God's judgment on sin is just, and they demonstrate that they do not stand on the side of that sin. In such obedience, God turns away his fierce anger and shows mercy to his people. One-sentence summary. This command is not teaching cruelty, but teaching that whoever truly fears God and longs for his mercy must maintain an uncompromising and complete separation from any sin that leads people away from him.